time of year to get that great summer produce from your local farmers market. But once you get it home, how do you keep it fresh? Well, here in the studio this morning is Shelly Hermanh. She's the co-owner of Irv and Shelly's Fresh Picks and co-founder of the Fresh Picks Farmer Alliance. And she's got some tips on proper storage for those fruits and vegetables. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So first, tell us about the Alliance.
Sure. So the Alliance is a great group of organic and sustainable farmers that have come together partnering with Irv and Shelly's Fresh Picks to get more of this great fresh food to everybody in Chicago, to chefs, institutions, grocery stores, and direct to people's homes. And we're doing it by aggregating the food from all the farms, bringing it to our distribution hub, and then delivering it out.
That sounds fantastic, and it's very important, especially when it comes to your health. And speaking of health, loose greens pack a lot of vitamins, and in some cases, when it comes to kale, protein as well, a good source of protein.
Yes.
How do we store these to make sure they stay fresh?
Yes. So this is the kale, this is the chard. What you want to do is just put it in a plastic bag and store it away. You know, you don't want to wash it until you're ready to use it. You don't want to pull off from the stems. You know, when you eat it, you do pull the leaves off from the stems. So just store it away. If you want it to last up to a week, that's the best way to do it. With the lettuces, what you're going to want to do is also, you know, you can put it in the plastic bag, but you're going to want to take a paper towel and just wrap it around the lettuce.
Now, tell me why. Does that help keep the moisture? Does the paper towel hold the moisture away from the lettuces?
Right, it's pulling off some moisture, right? Because if they get too wet, they're going to start breaking down. So this, with the plastic bag, is a good way to do the lettuces. And if you have lettuces like this, they're in, you know, a little bag.
Right.
Just look at it, because this has already been picked and washed. You can just pull out any little lettuce that might look like it's breaking down, and then that'll last longer as well.
You know, just a thought on that. When you buy the lettuce that's already in the bag, like triple washed, is it a good idea to put a piece of paper towel inside that too?
Yeah, you can just check and see. Sometimes they're really dry and you don't need to do that. You know, there are special spinners to dry the lettuces. But if it looks wet at all, you're going to want to do that for sure.
All right, asparagus, how do we store that?
Asparagus. So asparagus, the great way to do that is take a jar,
Okay.
put a little water in the bottom, and just stick the asparagus right in, put a plastic bag over the top.
Interesting. So it's almost like having a vase of flowers inside your refrigerator, because you've got the jar right there with the water in the bottom.
Right. Looks
Very
beautiful
smart.
in the fridge, and they last long until you're ready to eat them.
All right.
Yes.
Now, I have a big problem with mushrooms. Mine always just decompose in the refrigerator. What am I doing wrong?
So I think what happens with mushrooms is that people have them in plastic, but this is what you need for mushrooms, paper bag. Mushrooms have a lot of moisture, so you want them in paper to absorb that. You know, you can even use dried mushrooms, right? You can just have them out to dry them. But paper bag for mushrooms, they'll last quite a while before you eat them.
So paper and paper towels and paper bags really do the trick.
They do. They help out a lot.
What about strawberries?
So strawberries, and just like any berries, I mean, it's so exciting this time of the season to get fresh strawberries from the farm. But you know, they can, depending on the weather, if they were picked when it was raining, we've had a lot of rain, they're going to be pretty moist. So again, you want them to be dry. What I often do is I'll spread out the berries on a plate and put a paper towel over them for strawberries or raspberries, and again, keeping them dry. If you've ever noticed, like, if you buy berries and then you see some mold starting, it's where they're touching, where the moisture is having them touch together.
Too.
So if you separate them and dry them out, they'll last for a while. But also just eat them right away.
All right.
They're so good.
They are good. Well, Shelly, thank you so much for those tips. And for more information and another look at ways to keep your produce its freshest, and for information on Fresh Pick Farmer Alliance, log on to our website, cbschicago.com, a little later on this morning.